believe it or not everyone solves their problems with their fists.
2 girls?
2.
You want to tag along for an exorcism?
Yep.
That's out of the bloody question, love.
Well, we gave you its name, so you owe us.
Well, I gave you your soul, so you owe me indefinitely.
All the more reason for me to help you.
How is Fitz even here?
No, he just showed up out of nowhere with his own spaceship.
It's a baller move. Not to mention the whole bounty hunter look he's rocking.
I still prefer my cardigans.
Oh my god, I want that one.
Hello, everybody.
That is the Genshiest pop figure.
Hello, welcome to the Fandom Zone, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Charles Skaggs, and with me, of course, is my wonderful co-host with the most, Karen Lindsay.
Hello.
And joining us for the podcast is my new Funko figure,
Death. Woohoo!
From the Sandman comics, aka Death from the Endless.
She's so cute.
So, yeah, isn't she awesome?
I like her.
She's got her umbrella, she's got a little ankh, and she's got her, like, Doc Marten boots.
She got her eye makeup on. I like it.
Yeah, very cool. Now, unfortunately, this was, I think, they only released Death. They don't have the rest of the Endless.
Are you kidding me?
It's kind of crazy that we don't have, like, a Morpheus Sandman figure.
Yeah, that's insane.
At least him.
Right. He's the lead character.
So, but Death is...
I want Delirium. Because as most of you know, it used to be my Twitter icon, Delirium.
Yep.
So...
Yes, it was. So when we first started, you used to have that as your main icon.
Right.
So
for the very longest time.
I want the whole Endless set. I want Destruction. I want Desire, Destiny.
Yeah.
Despair.
Sure.
And I think
Delight. Even we could have Delight.
Well, that's right. Delight, because Delight becomes Delirium.
Right.
So I want the whole set. I want the whole set
as well.
I said Destruction.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Lost Brother.
Correct.
That they end up finding later on. I think it was the storyline Brief Lies, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
they find Destruction. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it is. And, okay, so before this turns into, like, Sandman talk, or Sandman figure talk.
Nothing wrong with Sandman. We can segue, however, from the Sandman talk into Lucifer talk.
Right. Yeah, because speaking of Lucifer, speaking of the old Neil Gaiman properties, or characters, got some good news about Lucifer, didn't we, Karen?
We did some really good news.
And you actually, like, revealed this to me, because this just happened, like, 2 hours ago.
I did. It dropped right this morning.
So while I'm having my, like, dinner of Five Guys burgers and fries.
That's right.
You were busy on the interwebs and noticed some interesting news about Lucifer and the future of the show.
Yep, it got picked up by Netflix for season 4. Netflix
stepped up to the plate. Not Amazon, as previously thought, maybe. But I'm okay with that because I like Netflix better.
Yeah, me too.
Their user interface is much easier than Amazon's, for one thing. But that's awesome. And hopefully this means that we could get some really expanded storylines beyond just the cop procedural.
Right, and maybe some grittier episodes. Some more comic-based.
Maybe we could actually see, like, hell. Wouldn't that be nice?
Mm-hmm.
You know, more than just
quick
fleeting images. But that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that news.
So Lucifer season 4 is happening, people.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
Is that amazing?
It was.
I think that's amazing.
Hold on a minute.
Amazing!
Yeah.
You know why I did that, right?
Yeah, because Lucifer.
And Rachel Harris,
And
yes.
Rachel Harris. Yeah.
Yep.
I thought it was funny that you didn't see because I posted it on our Facebook page. But
I haven't been on the internet.
No, I know. It's fine. But I saw it in my email from TV Line because I get, the breaking news, which is never really breaking news.
Yeah.
It's like breaking news, our favorite for Emmy. And I'm like, okay, that's not breaking news. That's you telling me what your favorite pick for the Emmy is.
Right.
But
that's just wishful thinking.
Everyone was tagging me in the post that they would put out. So like Stephanie Zimmer from TV Rewind podcast, she was like, hey, Karen, you were saying how you wanted Lucifer to get picked up. And they were tagging me.
We've become friends on Facebook.
Awesome. Yeah, Stephanie's awesome. So
Stephanie, I hope you're listening. And if so, thanks for connecting with me on the Facebook.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
So I was on the episode where we discussed season finales, and that's where I said, yeah, I'm a little bitter over them canceling Lucifer. And I said it like 4 times, and it was funny, like a callback thing,
Yeah.
And at the end of the episode, I was like, yeah, and also I'm a little upset that they canceled Lucifer. Like after the whole episode was done, I just kind of mentioned it like a throwaway thing.
Yeah.
And it was like we both kind of burst into laughter thing. Yeah. And so she posted the thing and tagged me in it. The same post, like TV Line post, and tagged me in it. And then I said, yeah, I'm okay with this in the comments of it.
Well, we when we did our Lucifer finale discussion, you seem to be of the opinion like that, well, if it doesn't come back, I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I was. I mean, it's a cliffhanger, but it was something where I was like, okay, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to slip my wrists or anything if it doesn't come back.
No need to form a petition.
Correct.
No need to, yes.
I'm glad that it's coming back, though, because I did love the show. So
I love the characters. I think the characters what make that show.
Right. And I mean, I was upset with it getting canceled because I thought it deserved to stay at least one more year.
Right.
And I thought
I like to have it go out on a better note than it did. Exactly.
Yeah. And that was part of it, is that I thought that they were dumb for leaving it where they did and not.
So presumably we will pick up that now that Chloe knows Lucifer is really, really the devil.
Right.
Unless she just somehow convinces herself, no, that had to be illusion.
They are not going to do that, or else they will be lynched.
I would hope not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, it will not happen because...
And hopefully we can get the redemption of Mazikeen.
Please. They have to, right?
I would hope so.
Yeah. So there's that. And then we do have some news about Supergirl, and we are not going to talk about this last week's Supergirl. I'm sorry, but the gun control thing was just a little too much for me.
Are you just kind of getting fed up with Supergirl soapboxing every week?
A little bit, yeah.
Just about every week, I should say. Maybe not every week, but just about every week.
Yeah. This next week we can talk about it because they didn't soapbox too much.
Because this is it piggybacked right after the whole racial profiling episode.
Right, racial profiling, and then it was like they stepped up to another box higher.
Yes, right.
And talked about gun control.
Now, granted, these are important issues.
They are great issues to discuss, but back to back on. Yeah, something that it was like the last remaining superhero show on the CW.
You should be building up to the finale, and instead you're devoting all this time to a social
Do this
issue.
In the middle of the season.
Right.
Where
it's more filler.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, I don't want to talk about it. But anyway, we did get 2 pieces of news that Jesse... Rath, thank you.
R-A-T-H.
Jesse Rath will be promoted to a season regular, which means that we're getting the Legion back At least part of it.
At least Brainiac 5.
Right.
We don't know if it's going to be the full Legion, but presumably that means Mon-El's sticking around.
Right. So Brainy's coming back, and then Jeremy Jordan, thank you.
Yeah, who plays Win?
Who plays Win is not going to be a series regular next
He's
season.
going to be a recurring character, is what you said, right?
Which is essentially what he is now.
Pretty much. So maybe they're just like, okay, well, he's not like, we have no idea what to do with this character for most of the episodes anyway, apart from him saying something snarky at the DEO.
Right. Well, okay, so Brainy and Win.
I think the only big thing they did was that episode where his mom showed up.
Right. That was his episode, essentially.
Yeah.
Brainy and Win are essentially doing the same thing at the DEO. So I'm guessing with them wanting to bring the character of Brainy on,
right,
Brainiac.
Hopefully that means we're going to see some more Legionnaires.
Right. So
maybe Supergirl becomes a member of the Legion. Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be great, I would think.
Supergirl and the Legion to Superheroes.
And maybe they'll go to the future. That would be really cool, right?
That would be, yes, it would.
Get more use out of that Earth 2 set.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because it kind of looks like the future.
Or, just kind of rework it.
Right.
Recycle it, I should say. Yeah.
Well, a painting or whatever it is.
Yeah, but still, you could, without having to reconstruct all new sets.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Repurpose it.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that they're just going to kind of make him the tech at the DEO.
Right.
And Win will be like, I want to go off with my mom or whatever.
Yeah, however they write him out temporarily or...
Yeah. So anyway, we got those two pieces of news today.
I'll go to the DEO branch in Antarctica.
I guess.
I don't know.
Or will he get a girlfriend or who knows? Win finds love.
I'm still waiting for Win to come out of the closet, personally.
Do you think?
His character is pretty much halfway there, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. I'm not saying the actor is. I'm just saying the character is.
Yeah, well, he does a few things that are... Yeah, iffy. But, so we got those two pieces of news about Supergirl, and then we got the news about Lucifer today, which is awesome. So, we thought we'd mention those things up front, and yeah.
Yeah, so we got some news. Good news.
Very cool.
Very cool news.
Very
All right, so with our news out of the way, we have some shows to talk about.
We do. Legion.
We have Legion, the penultimate episode of season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully there's going to be a season 3. Hooray.
Yay.
And we have the first 2, not 1, but 2 Cloak and Daggers.
That's right.
So this is the latest Marvel comic series, and this is available for those who don't know on Freeform, the former ABC Family channel.
That's right.
And these are actually turning out to be quite the pleasant surprise.
Yeah, we're both digging it.
Yeah, so if you're kind of like on the fence about whether you should check this out, maybe we can persuade you to.
Yeah, it's not just for kiddies. I mean,
nope.
I was thinking, hey, it might be a little juvenile. It's not. It's very good.
Worried. I was worried about that too. I thought it'd be just, a lot of kind of almost like a Dawson's Creek version. I mean, just that kind of demographic.
Right.
But like a CW type
like a cross
show.
Between the Power Rangers and Dawson's Creek.
But thankfully, it's if you're familiar with the show Runaways, that's on another Marvel show, but this one's on Hulu.
Yeah.
Which is also surprisingly quite good. I recommend that one, checking out that one as well. I'd like to see these two, Runaways and Cloak and Dagger, cross over.
Yeah, I think it would be cool.
So,
and it's also, I would say, up there quality-wise with The Gifted.
Yeah, I'd say so too. That's a good comparison. Mm-hmm. So if you're like into a show like The Gifted, you might want to check this. Plus, I like the fact that it's set in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they actually make good use of the location, especially in episode 3, which you have not seen yet.
I heard that actually, that New Orleans is coming into episode 3 a little better.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely get some, because we actually get to tour the city a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very cool.
I heard it. Actually, I read it on Den of Geek.
Yeah. So definitely looking forward to talking about that. So without further ado or a don't, let's dive right into Legion.
All right.
As I try to do my Cajun accent.
210, Chapter 18.
Chapter 18.
Great title.
All right. Yeah. Written by Noah Hawley and Nathaniel Halpern, showrunners, directed by Dana Gonzalez. All
right. A story, Faces of Evil.
Yeah.
And that is Melanie, David, Oliver, and Farouk.
Wait, David's evil? What is he with the
I didn't say Faces of Evil. I'm just...
Well, you did. You called it Faces of Evil.
Faces of Evil. I'm talking about the faces more than anything else.
Okay. All right.
And how they look, perhaps.
Yeah. Now, fair warning. I have seen the Legion finale.
Me too.
So we kind of know what happens.
Let's not bleed.
Yeah, I'll try not to. So if I start to, just like shut up, Charles. Just tell me shut up, Charles, and
let's not
stop.
bleed in. Okay. The monks on the chessboard get up.
We are kind of playing catch up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
The B story is the monks on the chessboard get up and tell you where to go.
Right.
That's a line from White Rabbit. Men.
Yeah.
Instead of monks. And that's, of course, the monks coming out of the rabbit hole.
Now, from White Rabbit, you mean the song White Rabbit
Correct.
by Jefferson Airplane?
Correct.
Yep.
It's the men on the chessboard get up and tell you where to go.
I really like that song, by the way.
Me too.
But I'm kind of into psychedelic music.
No, I love that song.
And Legion is rife with it.
Yes,
so
it is.
It's perfect.
That's why I used this. But I thought it was funny because there was a white rabbit that came out or was around the hole. And
and I'm sure that was deliberate. Because like your Alice in Wonderland metaphors.
Right.
So, yes. Which, of course, the song White Rabbit is based on.
Correct.
Yep.
And so I thought I'd use that as the line for the monks popping out of the hole.
Right.
And then Unhinged Too Far. And that was, let's see, what was my Unhinged Too Far?
They said you've got Carrie and Carrie finding Oliver.
Right. But there was, that's A Bridge Too Far. Unhinged Too Far.
Okay, got it.
Okay. And then All Choked Up is Clark being intercepted. That thing's called the choke.
Yeah, the choker. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And then Feeling Bullish is the Minotaur.
Minotaur.
Right. Unhinged Too Far is that they find Oliver and that, they think he's gone unhinged.
Yep.
So,
Face of Evil.
Yeah, okay. This is pretty much the whole episode, though, right? I mean,
this is the main storyline.
Yeah.
So this is a kind of a big Melanie spotlight here.
Finally.
Because remember, for most of the season, she's been kicking back Toking pretty hard. Now, we found out recently that she was taken over by the Shadow King. Mm-hmm. And apparently has a good chunk of him inside her, because the Shadow King is using Melanie to act as his physical agent in the real world.
Right.
So that in his quest for his actual body, to reclaim his actual body. Mm-hmm. And in this episode, they find his body.
Right.
So, but Melanie along the way is manipulating people. She's messing with Sid's head pretty hard.
Yeah, that's the main thrust of it, is that he uses Melanie's face to manipulate Sid, and she twists the tail.
And basically helping drive this wedge between Sid and David, which has been growing. Yeah. And pretty much really hits a head in the final episode, but that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Farouk is, and I used the chessboard metaphor in the B story. Farouk is really playing chess here in this episode.
Right. 3-dimensional chess.
Yeah, big time. He is moving a lot of pieces, and one of them is Melanie. Melanie is his queen in this episode, essentially.
Right.
She is playing all sides of this board. She is manipulating Sid for the most part to turn her against David.
Right.
Showing her what's really happening, but twisting it. You know, he is torturing Oliver, but what he's doing is he's trying to get Oliver to tell him where Sid is.
Right.
So
there's a lot going on there. So that, well, part of it is also, I think that Shadow King enjoys torturing Oliver by using Melanie.
Right.
And, you know, there's, because we talked about that when that scene in a previous episode where Farouk and Oliver were driving along in the desert, and then all of a sudden Oliver turns and tells him, you know, I'm going to kill you, right?
Right. So why would he warn him ahead of time?
Right.
I mean, it's...
So he's still, like, able to try to resist him or rebel against him.
Right.
And the Shadow King's more than happy to kind of, like, put the screws to Oliver big time here.
Yeah. Yeah, Oliver warned him, and I'm wondering whether that was subliminal warning or not. You know, did he speak those words out loud, or did he think them? Because the Shadow King knows everything that Oliver thinks.
Right. So I don't think it mattered either way.
Right. So Oliver thought...
I think it could have been, it could have been just, you know, the way that scene was depicted.
Right.
That it was just for our benefit.
Right. That he was thinking, I gotta kill this guy.
Right. It was just more powerful to see Oliver saying those words.
Right.
As opposed to just thinking it.
Right. Like he wasn't being cocky saying, I'm going to kill you.
No, it's just very matter-of-factly.
Right. So he's thinking in his head, I got to kill this guy.
Right.
But the Shadow King takes it as, this guy's daring me to stop him from killing me.
Right.
And of course, that's going to bring him up to a challenge. And Farouk is really, really ramping it up in this episode. He is crazed. And of course, there's a part of Farouk still in David.
Yes.
So...
Yeah, and it seems to be kind of taking more root once again.
Yeah, and I think it makes David a little crazy.
Well, understandably so.
Yeah.
Because Farouk has been in his head since he was a kid.
Right. And Melanie brings that up to Sid as well, saying, wouldn't you be a little crazy?
Right.
If, you know, if these things had happened, then they show that kid again.
Yeah. And speaking of David, so while we're on the subject of David.
Yeah.
We got some very cool shout outs to the comic books in this episode. 2 big ones.
Huge shout outs.
So the first one happens
pretty
early
much the
on.
Opening shot, right?
It's pretty much the opening because we get this glimpse of like darker version of events, and this kind of like shadow alternate realm or whatever. Like we're not sure if it's the future or just like an alternate Earth or what's going on here. But David is kind of like seated at this like bone throne.
Yep.
Like you know, have like the Iron Throne on Game of Thrones. This is like the Bone Throne, and he's rocking the Legion hair from the comics, which means his hair is straight up.
Yep.
Going full eraser head almost, and you know, it was very cool to finally see the traditional Legion hair.
Yep.
And they worked it in.
They did.
So I was very, very happy about that.
Yeah, he looked like his character in the comics.
Yeah, I mean, and just his whole body language, because in the comics, especially when he was drawn by Bill Sienkiewicz, he was very kind of like angular and, you know, like long-armed and just kind of like his whole physicality was projecting that traditional Legion from the comics.
Right. Everything. And
the kind of the cocked head.
He was holding a sphere with the Sid in it.
Yeah.
And even that was like looking like that character from the comics.
And looking very menacing.
Yeah.
You know, like dark and whatnot.
It was awesome.
And it was awesome.
Gave me shivers almost.
Yeah, it was, because it's like, holy crap for crap. He's like, he's become the full Legion.
He's Legion from the comics.
Yep.
Yeah,
so,
it was awesome.
So that was cool.
And then
about two-thirds of the way through the episode, we finally get a shout out. You want to talk about this?
Yeah, Melanie is laying it all out for Sid and saying, well, you'd be crazy, of course. He's gonna go nuts, and what will he become? He is Legion World Killer. And then they show him rising above the city and the city.
So we finally get the actual name Legion finally referenced on the show.
Yeah, in regards to him, he is Legion World Killer. Yeah.
So Legion. Now Legion is also a reference to David's various multiple personalities.
Right.
So, like, because he suffers from dissociative identity disorder in the comics. The question I'm wondering...
I mean, it's really what it is the other people around him.
Well...
Right?
To some extent, it's also his multiple personalities.
Okay.
But there's been instances where he's kind of, like, absorbed the personalities of people he's encountered.
Right.
And stuff, so it's kind of like both, really. So what I'm wondering now is, are we finally going to get David's dissociative personas in play?
I would hope so. Now that
that would kind of explain the way he's behaving here.
Mm-hmm. And the face, the crazy face.
Yeah, because if you notice in certain scenes when he's doing certain things, he has a completely different expression.
Yeah, the crazy face.
There's the lovable David that you want to see, like holding a necktie or something with Sid.
Right.
Walking down the hall, being all cutesy.
The crazy go nuts face.
There's the crazy go nuts David.
Yeah.
With the world killer. Mm-hmm. And presumably more. Yeah. If they follow the comics. So I'm hoping as we head into season 3, hopefully we see more of that.
Right. And I love David.
Yes.
But it wouldn't be Legion if he wasn't Legion. Right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, I would love to see that evolve.
Right. It would be a great explanation for a lot of the things he does. Mm-hmm. Is that one personality does something that maybe the other personalities don't know that they're doing.
Right.
And I'm just going to tease it right there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to leave it right there and move on. Okay. Yes. Anything else about this topic before we move on?
Well, we might bring other things from the Faces of Evil in, but I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Okay, and, so the monks.
Go ahead. The monks in the chessboard. Let's talk about that.
I'm going to talk about the hole. Okay. In the desert.
Yeah, let's talk about this. So this essentially, Sid goes. She's in the desert, and she finds this bottomless pit in the desert
with a drain plug.
Yeah. So it's like
blue drain,
like a bathtub, like a ginormous bathtub drain plug.
Yeah, what is it, like 2.5 feet around, 3 feet around in diameter?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like, well, did they CGI that, or they actually? And
it's like
the thing.
It's like turquoise. It's like a 50s turquoise color.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Well, of course, it's on Legion. It has to be retro because they love retro in Legion.
I love it. It's so great.
Very stylish.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this rabbit comes out of the pit.
Yeah. On a hook.
Yeah, on a hook. And now it's kind of caught. So Sid frees the rabbit, but then she ends up getting pulled in the hole.
Right.
So it's essentially like a lure to get her in the hole, and she fell for it.
Right.
Literally.
So stupid.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe this is how she loses her arm. The thing gets infected.
I was wondering that.
It's the wrong arm.
Yeah. Yep.
So how?
Unless things change, maybe the future isn't what we think it is.
Could be.
Or maybe that's an alternate future.
Could be.
And maybe that's that's a way of the show telling us we don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
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 You know that the future is not written yet.
Because she does say that in the episode.
Right.
A little later.
It's not all. Yeah. Which is good because you don't want it to all be like, okay, this is where we're going to end up.
Right.
Because that's too boring and predictable.
Because Fitz.
You want? Yes, exactly. Right.
Stupid Fitz.
Stupid Whedons.
I like him in
killing off.
I like him in cardigans.
Yep. You love that quote, don't you?
I do. I love that quote so much.
Yep.
It's a baller move.
I don't know. I like him in cardigans.
I like him in cardigans.
Yeah. All right.
And then, another thing I love about this whole also, and it has nothing to do with that part, is when, what's her name? Aubrey Plaza.
Oh, you mean Lenny?
Thank you.
You're
Lenny
welcome.
shows up with her bag of holding.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's just like, essentially like she got one of the doctor's coat pockets that you can just keep pulling stuff out of. Yeah. So, it's like bigger on the inside.
It's the makeup bag of holding, and she finds all the monks sitting around the hole with lock boxes on their heads.
Yeah.
And she sits down and she sets the little case in front of her.
Right.
And she's like, okay, so this is fun. And
presumably this is the same order of monks that Fukuyama belongs to.
Yeah, the Shaolin
Shaolin?
No, it's not Shaolin.
I was going to say, they don't look like Shaolin monks. No,
that's not what they are. I don't remember.
It's like Shaolin monks were like on Kung Fu.
I'll look it up in a minute. But so she sets the little makeup case down and she's looking around and she's like, this is fun. Or, she's so matter of fact, which I love.
Right.
And then she opens it up and she pulls this long gun out of this tiny little case. And then she's like, awesome.
It's very cartoony, the way that she just pulls this big ass, the BFG.
Right.
Out of this
big effing gun,
bag.
Right?
Yeah.
And then she's like, "This is awesome," and then she puts it back down in the case, right? And then she locks it back up, and then she sits there and she's like, "So, have you seen a monastery?" and then all of a sudden they all kind of like look in one direction. They're like all of
that
them
way
at the same time, and then they all point, right?
Yeah.
And she walks off,
and she's like, "Thank you."
Right. And then later, she saves Carrie.
Right.
Who is fighting off the clown car hole.
Yeah.
Of monks.
Right. So there's a segment there later on in the episode where like a crap ton of monks just kind of keep coming out of this hole to attack. And this is after like Division 3 shows up.
Right.
And, because Carrie and Carrie, both Carries, are there with like a Division 3 strike team.
Right.
And because they had followed this weapon to this burnt abandoned car that Lenny was in. Remember in the previous episode where we thought it was cool that she goes back to the trunk as it's still on fire and just kind of grabs this case and then just walks off. She goes, no big deal.
Walks back, yeah.
No big deal getting a case out of a burning trunk.
Right.
And so these guys, they've got like bolas.
Right.
Where you kind of whip them. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Right. But they're making a horrible noise.
Yeah. Now, and apparently this like disables the sound of this whooshing causes this ear-splitting pain. So like all the soldiers and Carrie is just like, I can't take it.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
The monks were all disabled by a noise that was underneath the monastery. I don't know if that has anything to do with the noise that they were making, but...
It very much might.
Yeah. And they came up out of the ground, remember?
That's a good observation. I think you're onto something there.
And they are the Migo monks.
Oh, is that what they are?
M-I-G-O.
Right.
Go.
Right. And
But
so
they came out of the ground,
right.
which would be under a monastery,
Yeah.
and they had this horrible noise.
Yep.
So, I don't know.
So they finally get into the hole where Sid was taken,
Right.
and these then all of a sudden this bunch of these guys dressed in blue come out and attack,
Mm-hmm.
and then Carrie with a K proceeds to kick much of their asses.
Yes.
And very
A lot of them.
So that was kind of cool.
And then
like all the dudes are laid out, but Carrie with a K,
right,
is just like kicking ass.
Right.
So it's very like you go girl kind of moment there.
Right. And then they're looking around. More of them come up, and then finally one of them gets smart and starts to drag Carrie with a C away.
Yes.
And that's when Lenny mows them down with her gun.
Right. And so, and then Carrie with a C gets taken by one of the attackers, pulled into the pit.
Right.
And then Carrie with a K kind of looks over at Lenny, and Lenny's just like, yeah, you might want to go in there.
Right.
So then she jumps in.
Right.
Yeah. And that's kind of where we're left with them.
Right.
Although Carrie with a K does. Let's see what else.
Oh, there's some stuff with the Minotaur down there.
We should talk about the Minotaur stuff too. So you want to just go right into that?
Let's do.
All right, go ahead.
Well, Melanie is prepping the Minotaur to go into battle, and
to kill the weak.
Yep. And he is starting with the girls down in the hole.
Yep.
Right?
Well, Carrie's captor, for one.
Right.
And a few of the Vermilion get taken out by the Minotaur.
Right. And, yeah.
And then Carrie escapes to where David's been torturing Oliver, which we need to talk about that.
Right. That's unhinged too far, and that's where Carrie finds Oliver and is not pleased.
Well, yeah, because it turns out that David is trying to get some information out of Farouk / Oliver.
Right.
Who's not giving up the goods. So David decides to go all torture.
Medieval on him.
Basically medieval on his ass.
Right.
Or more particularly his legs. Because David takes a power drill.
Right through the knees.
To drill, like, okay, first he drills like one hole.
Mm-hmm.
And hoping to get okay, now you're going to give up the goods? Well, guess what? That didn't work. Drill another hole.
Right.
That didn't work. Let's drill one in your chest.
Right.
Nope. How about the other side? Nope.
Okay, let's try another place. Yeah.
So basically, like,
he's becoming a pin cushion.
Yeah,
a
pretty
drill
much.
cushion.
Drill cushion?
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Pretty much. He's kind of turning him into Swiss cheese, practically.
What he wants to know is where Sid is, though.
Right. So and it kind of says a lot here that David isn't really thinking about Oliver at all.
Right.
About his physical form. He just wants to get the information out of Farouk.
Right.
And that's going to bite him in the ass.
It is. And Sid is not seeing it the way David is, obviously.
Right.
Well, first of all, she doesn't know that he is wanting to know where she is.
Right.
All she sees is that he is doing this horrible thing to Oliver.
Yeah.
It doesn't even register that it's to Farouk.
Yeah.
So, we see with our eyes, right? So that's what she sees.
Yep.
So yeah, it's bad news there. And then, of course, we have Clark, who is taking the choke out to the desert. And the choke is it looks like a big tuning fork. And what it does is it is going to mute the powers of all the mutants around it. And he's like doing that.
Right.
He's doing that so Farouk won't have powers when he finds his body, right?
Yeah. Basically, it disables his psychic abilities.
Right.
So, and this might also affect David's abilities as well, but it kind of evens the playing field more. So, except
someone gets a little intercepted there.
Yes. So Farouk ends up attacking him and disables the choke.
That's right.
And, at the end of the episode, we're kind of left with Farouk kind of surveying the desert a little bit. And then we see David reciting a passage from everybody's favorite children's book, The Angriest Boy in the World.
Yeah.
Ruh-roh.
Not good.
Yep. So that's not good.
Yeah, not good. And you're left feeling... Thank you. I was collecting some thoughts, or I would have done that myself. I was left really unsettled at the end of this episode because I wasn't prepared for all of David's plans. He had all these machinations that were being set into place. They were all just toppled one by one in this episode. All of them.
And Dave has just become this big ball of rage by the end of the episode, ready to I'm going to kick
the angriest boy.
He's the angriest boy. He's literally become the angriest boy, except for that big paper mache head. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a great episode, but also so unsettling.
Yeah, we're going into a very dark place on Legion, apparently, and it gets even worse next episode.
I know, but we're saying dark and worse. Right. But that doesn't mean we don't love it.
We're going into the darkest timeline on Legion. Right.
But it's deliciously dark.
Yes.
Is the thing. There's love in that dark area.
It's very compelling, this darkness.
It is incredible.
Yes.
So, yeah.
All right. So what's your rating for this one? I noticed we're in sync on everything this week.
Yes, right along the board.
Okay, what's your rating?
I gave it 9 giant sync plug thingies.
Yeah.
I didn't know what else to call it.
No, that's perfect. I would have gone with bathtub plug thingies,
okay.
But yeah. My rating, again, totally in sync, 9 Legion hairstyles because, yay, we got Legion's hairstyle.
We did. I loved it. Yeah.
Major geek moment, big time.
I don't think I've ever had a bathtub with the plug, but I've had a sink with that plug. So.
I've a couple of hotel rooms I've been in, like older hotels. Would have that, yes. And so because I've also been over to England and stuff, so I've seen those those plugs.
I've been in farmhouses, and farmhouses have those big sinks, the square, and they have those plugs. So that's why I say sinks. Right. You learn something new every day.
I did. The more you know.
Do, 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 do. I need that.
You need that sound effect? Yeah. Write yourself a note for that.
I'll never remember.
You never remember?
If I write it down.
Okay. See, I write stuff down to remember.
Well, I don't have a pen.
Oh. You don't have a pen?
I did. Someone stole it. I noticed it was gone the other day, and I just never brought one in. I don't have my desk yet, remember?
Oh, that's right. You don't have a desk yet because you're still you're still kind of assembling your stuff from your new move, your recent move. All right, so let's move on.
Cloak and Dagger times.
Cloak and Dagger time. So, again, like we talked about, this is a show on Freeform, and it's based on the Marvel Comics characters. And this first episode 101, the pilot, First Light, written by Joe Pokaski, showrunner.
Okay.
Directed by Gina Prince Bythewood.
Okay.
And she is a very, if you're into like independent movies, stuff like the Secret Life of Bees or whatever, stuff like that.
Okay.
She's a notable independent movie director.
Alrighty.
She's actually won some awards and stuff.
I'll have to look at her bio.
Yeah, you should, because she may have directed some movies you might have watched if you're into independent movies.
All right.
But apparently she's pretty good at it. She's let's just say she's directed some very notable movies. I can't remember them offhand because not my type of movies. But
All right.
yeah,
I've seen some indie movies.
you probably have.
Is that disparaging or not?
Some? What's disparaging about it?
I don't know. You probably have. I don't know. Was that disparaging or not?
No, I'm just saying that I was talking to everybody. You,
okay.
All of you out there probably have.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I said I've seen some, and then you went, "You probably have," and I was thinking.
Well, no, and I just for you, I said you probably have, and maybe some other people have as well.
Okay.
So yeah,
I wasn't sure whether you were going,
it wasn't intended to
You
be
probably have.
No.
Okay.
It's not that. I was not intended like that. If it came off that way, I apologize.
No. I'm just wondering. That's all. Because you would give me shit about shit like that. I mean,
I'm not going to give you
crap
shit
about crap like that.
I would not.
Okay.
All right. So this is our first episode with some new actors: Aubrey Joseph as Cloak, and Olivia Holt as Dagger, aka Tyrone and Tandy.
That's right.
And Tyrone Johnson and Tandy Bowen. And we got Gloria Rubin from ER in this.
That's right. She was great.
Yeah, she was great. She plays Tyrone's mom, Adina.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is actually a surprising episode. So what's our A, B, and C for this one?
2 roads diverged in a watery deep.
Yeah.
Change the words to that a little bit.
Okay.
Second meet cute.
Okay.
That would be the party out on the beach.
Yeah. Right.
And then a cutting future / the transporter.
Well, the transporter is obviously Tyrone.
Right. And then cutting knife future.
Oh, okay,
she
like
sees
daggers,
the future.
Yes. Okay, so that's probably
her two things
that's Tandy,
together.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So 2 roads diverged in a watery deep. So we get some flashbacks. We start this series off with some flashbacks where we see we get to contrast the lives of Tandy, a white girl, with Tyrone, a black boy, African American boy, and Tandy starts off being this rich, privileged young girl in ballet class.
Yep.
And she has some hardships because we see her like waiting in the rain for someone to pick her up from ballet class, and her dad finally shows up.
Yeah, and we get hints of her mother's drug abuse problem.
Right.
At that point, but
right. And we get more of that later on.
Yeah.
And then we see Tyrone. We see him. He has an older brother who he kind of worships.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, his older brother has some like hoodlum friends and some bad influences.
Right.
And that ultimately leads to they want Tyrone's brother to steal this car stereo.
Right. We're only stealing what they stole from us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tyrone's brother is just like, no, I'm not going to do that because my little brother's here.
Right.
And so, trying to help out Tyrone's brother, young Tyrone, who's just like a little kid at this point, steals the car stereo.
Right.
So he's just, to try to make his older brother look good for his friends.
Right.
And as a result, the cops find out, see him, they spot him. There's kind of they chase him down. And
well, Tyrone and his brother his brother finds him and says, "Oh no, this is bad. We're going to go take this and put it back." And that's when the cops spot him.
That's right. Yeah, because basically, like, Tyrone's brother doesn't want Tyrone to get in trouble.
Right.
For understandable reasons. He's looking out for his little brother.
Right. And they're going to put it back, and that's when the cops spot him, and they're like,
right.
Seriously, we're going to put it back.
I know. So they obviously would have been, which of course does not going to go over well with cops, especially racist cops.
Right. Which these are.
Who of course decide to shoot first, ask questions later, and they shoot Tyrone's brother.
Right. Knock him off into the water, which is a huge point.
Yeah, it puts one in the chest, and he sends him back into this off this pier or whatever.
Right.
And of course, Tyrone is just, horrified by this.
Yep.
Dives in after his brother.
Yep. And dovetailing in the
Yes.
same story, the father who has picked up
Meanwhile,
Tandy,
Yep.
asks, hey, did you break any boards? That's kung fu. That's not ballet. Ha ha. Which I thought was pretty funny.
Right. We can see that obviously Tandy's father actually cares about her,
Yeah.
but apparently he's got way too much drama going on,
Way too much. Yeah.
as we find out.
Yeah, there's some safety issues going on with an oil rig, which they can see from the window of the car.
Yep. And oh, gee, who's behind it? The Roxxon Corporation.
Rocks on, rocks off. And
Who's like, if you're a Marvel Comics buff, you know that basically this is like the evil criminal
They're the
version
big bad.
of Exxon.
right,
Yes.
they're the big
Yes.
bad. And so
Or more criminal.
as he's on the phone talking about these issues, he looks out the window and the oil rig in question is crumbling into the sea,
Yep.
which draws his attention, and a big rig crashes into
Right.
the car and pushes
Yeah,
them.
because like the rain's coming down.
Yeah, it's just
And then
like
all of a sudden he's just like, wait, what in the world can that be? And all of a sudden, Dad, look out!
right,
And it goes
And,
all Jessica Jones origin.
right into the water.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones origin, essentially.
Right.
Yeah. So into the water, and so Tyrone and his brother in the water. Tandy and her father in the water.
In the same area.
Right. And the big rig also in the water.
Right. And there's kind of like this energy blast wave.
Right.
Like kind of all particle accelerator on the Flash kind of thing.
Right. The big rig, the oil rig, all this stuff in the water.
Right.
So all of this confluence comes
going on.
together and comes
So-
and
And so what happens is that Tandy's father apparently like hit his head and is unconscious and drowns.
right.
So Tandy's in the water with her dead father. Tyrone is in the water with his dead brother.
Right.
And right off the bat, you see how connected these two characters are to each other in ways they don't
They're
realize.
bonded.
That.
Yeah.
And then the next thing we know, they kind of like there's like Tyrone is saved by a mysterious light, and Tandy is saved by this like mysterious darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the opening titles to the show.
Right.
That's the opening to this.
Yep. And I thought it was fantastic.
Right. Draws you right in.
Yeah, it did. It did. I was like, how are they going to set this up?
It's very well shot, and just it's very engrossing, and it was a great hook.
And also heartbreaking.
Yeah, because I mean, you're automatically sympathetic to both these characters, and then we kind of jump forward to the present day.
When we become a little less sympathetic to one of the two characters.
Well, yeah, because Tandy, we find out Tandy has kind of taken a darker path.
And again, this is where I put two roads diverged, because one of them takes a different road.
Right. They take kind of unexpected paths.
Yeah.
So like, for example, Tandy, the rich, privileged white girl, ends up, her life kind of goes on the skid since her father had died, and she ends up becoming like this street hustler.
Yeah, I'm guessing they blamed her dad.
A grifter.
They blamed her dad for the accident.
Right.
Which means Mom and Tandy were on the skids, and they lived in a trailer
apparently,
park.
her mom fell, kept fighting, and they're their money ran out or whatever, and so in order to kind of survive, Tandy became this very hardened street
rat.
Streetwise, yeah.
Yeah, and she kind of has this boyfriend, and they're...
But I mean, she's hooked up with this dude who essentially, like I said, they're grifters.
Yep, Liam.
Yeah. And they go around to like, various clubs or whatnot. And then she picks out like rich guys and tries to like make a connection so that she can get their, wallets and whatnot.
Right. She roofies them and then she...
Right. Because they go up there expecting sex and she like drugs them and takes their stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, kind of backfires on her in this episode.
Yeah. Because the guy that she roofies, the rich guy in this episode, is her super big douchebag.
Huge douchebag.
Yeah.
Who kind of gets what he deserves. Kind of. But kind of not. I mean, he does get grifted.
Right.
But still.
Yeah. Now, meanwhile, Tyrone, who you would expect because, of course, stereotypes being that he's black, and involved with there's all
with
kinds
a bad
of
crowd,
bad influences and whatnot.
Right, and the police killed his brother, and I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that happen.
Apparently, he ends up like attending this kind of like a prep school, Catholic prep school.
Mm-hmm. Well, what happened is his mother is a huge activist and decided after her son got killed she was going to do something about it, and that's what caused all the change in his life.
Right. Well, apparently that change was for the better for this family.
Mm-hmm.
They actually make something of their lives and kind of build themselves up. And so you got Tyrone. He plays basketball, and he's like one of the top players, and just that. It was a pleasantly refreshing play against stereotypes here.
It was.
But you see how their lives have gone in different directions, so that when they eventually hook up, there's a lot of different things going on here. Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting.
It is. So and Tyrone, we find out, has been obsessed with the cop that killed his brother.
The dirty cop.
Yeah. We find out this guy's all kinds of shady, the cop that killed his brother.
Well, we knew he was shady, number one, because he shot his brother with no provocation and planted drugs in order to say that he was justified in doing so.
Yeah.
So there was that.
Right.
But then we find out that there's all these other things as well. So
yeah. All right. So let's go into second meet cute.
Yeah. Okay. They both decide they're going to go to this beach party.
Right.
Different, coming from different places,
different reasons here.
Right. So she shows up and runs into him literally.
Yes.
On the beach.
Right.
And they have a bit of a quote unquote meet cute. However.
Right.
Tyrone turns around to talk to someone and realizes that...
Well, what he was going to do, he's going to pay for this girl's who has this big crush on him.
Right.
And she was going to pay for her beer. He's like, wait, where's my wallet?
Mm-hmm.
Tandy!
Yeah, that's right. So he runs after her and...
chases her down. They go into this graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a nice big gothic feel to it.
Yeah, which was pretty awesome.
Right, because remember this is in New Orleans, so if you're like an interview with a vampire fan the Vampire Chronicles, you're digging this.
Or Lestat.
Yes.
I like Lestat. I don't like vampires.
Yeah, but Lestat is a vampire, but
the other stuff. I'm sorry, the other one.
Okay, all right.
Whatever it was.
Okay.
She had a ghost one too.
Okay. Okay. All right. But yeah, Lestat was a vampire.
Okay.
Vampire Lestat. Yeah.
All right. You're right.
All right. So, they chase, but once they start they touch each other's hand or whatever, Tandy's hand starts to glow. And she causes this blast that sends them both flying.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tyrone looks down at his hands, and his hands, surprise, are emitting a sort of darkness.
That's right.
Come to the darkness,
Cloak.
Tyrone. Tyrone, welcome to the darkness.
Yep.
It's me, Ben. You thought you had seen the last of me, didn't you?
Come out of the darkness.
Come out of the darkness.
Come out of the darkness, Tandy. Give me my wallet.
I'm doing it for you, the people.
You've taken my wallet, Tandy. Come out of the light and bring me my wallet.
The wallet belongs to the people.
Okay, we need to stop doing this.
No, we don't. All right. So let's move on. So essentially, this is their first use of their powers that they realize. Now, obviously, we saw them like as kids, kind of tease that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they were both
When
on the
they
water.
saved themselves up.
But
the water,
here's
yeah.
the first full display of it,
Right.
and they're just like,
What? Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Exactly.
Like Kyle's man. Kyle's man.
Yeah. What?
What? All outraged, yeah.
Cow's mom's a big fan.
Wait.
I'm not gonna
They're gonna do the
continue
Kyle's
that.
mom song.
Nope.
Let's not do the Kyle's mom song.
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
So Tyrone ends up going home, and he wraps up in a dark sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Like he needs this comforting feeling for some reason. Kind of like a cloak. Just saying.
Just saying.
And Tandy's goes back to her douchebaggy boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And she's
wait
like,
a minute. What?
Yeah.
Why are you calling him douchebaggy for?
Well, because he's a grifter and he got her into grifting.
Okay, so he's a grifter, but so far...
And he uses her. And she lets him.
I don't know.
Yeah. And Tandy's kind of wondering if Tyrone is that kid from the beach, and we get the flashback for that apparently after they wound up back on the shore after they were in the water.
Right, and their hands were near each other.
Their hands were interlocked. They were side by side on the beach.
Right.
And
see, I think Liam is the one that's being used in their friendship.
Well, maybe. I'm not going to put it past Tandy, because Tandy's got some rather unsavory elements to her character, but
yeah.
But I don't think Liam's innocent here.
Oh no, he's not.
Because he's helping with the grifts.
Of course, he's a bad guy, but I'm just saying, he's not a douchebag.
He's not telling her, "Hey, maybe we shouldn't do this." It's like, okay, how can we do this?
I'm just saying.
That's a douchebag.
Okay. He's a criminal.
He's a criminal, but yeah. He could be trying to help her, and he's not.
Tyrone's brother was a criminal, too, but he wasn't a douchebag.
But Tyrone's brother also looked out for Tyrone.
Yeah. He's looking out for Tandy.
You're not going to let this go, are you?
No, I'm just saying.
You want to like Liam.
No, I don't, actually. I'm not in love with Liam at all. I'm just saying I don't know that he's a douchebag. I don't know that I'd go that far.
Okay.
With him. I don't think he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's no prize.
He's not a prize at all.
No. Okay. Can we at least agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I agree with you on that.
Okay. All right.
I just don't know that I'd be as harsh as saying he's a douchebag.
Okay. Well.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
We'll table that for now.
Okay, let's do.
All right.
I'm sorry for getting into it with you. I really am.
That's all right.
You guys, I've come off a hard week. He's come off a hard week. We're probably picking at nits here that we shouldn't be picking at. So
yeah, we should probably move on.
Okay.
All right. So let's do that. So
they have this thing. They move apart.
Yeah. And Tyrone spots that the shady cop.
Yep.
And so he kind of he ditches like school to keep tabs on this shady cop.
Yep.
And which of course gets him in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tandy goes back to the trailer, or is it a trailer or an apartment? I think it's an apartment.
It's a trailer.
I thought it was an apartment.
Is it? It looks like a trailer to me.
It could be. It's no.
She's living in a church, but then
it looked like it had a normal door than a trailer door, but maybe it is.
I think it's a trailer. I don't know.
I don't know, somewhere. But so she goes back there to kind of like hide some stuff. And she's got this duffel bag full of money that she stole.
A tiny little pink duffel bag.
Yeah, and so there's like a cut on her hand.
Mm-hmm.
And she's trying to get that all stitched up or whatever. And then she like thinks about like, oh hey, here's my happy childhood when everything my life didn't suck.
Right.
And her hand keeps glowing, and she's not quite sure how to turn it off.
Right. And
Tandy's mom shows up. And
did we skip over what had happened with the guy?
Oh, with the cop?
With the real douchebag that she robbed?
Oh, no, not yet.
Okay.
And trying to remember where that. Let's see.
They rob this guy, and then they don't get very much for his stuff.
Right.
They couldn't even sell he had like tickets to the opera or whatever. Yeah. And
that's toward the end of the episode.
Yeah. Okay.
So we should talk about this. So like so the rich guy gets a hold of her,
right?
Puts her up against the wall, and then tries to sexually assault her.
Correct.
So this is the major douchebag of the episode. I will grant you that yes, rich guy is more of a douchebag than Liam.
Big time.
At least so far.
Yes.
And meanwhile, you've got Tyrone finding himself in the middle of a drug deal.
Mm-hmm.
And the driver of the car is the cop that he's been looking for. So he gets away without getting caught, so he knows that the cop is up to no good.
Really
still,
no good.
Still, after all these years. And Tandy, who's like still scared for her life, she's fighting this guy off. She scratches his face, and then all of a sudden stabs him in the stomach.
Right. And she doesn't know how.
She doesn't know how because she didn't have a knife when she was there. She's fighting this guy off, and all of a sudden she looks down, and there's this dagger of light in her hand. Mm-hmm. So we get Dagger's first light dagger.
Right.
Yep.
Glowy thing.
Yep. So essentially she's got like one of Superman's fortress crystals that's all lit up.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
And because that's what it looks like.
It does look like that.
Yeah,
a shard.
A little shard, a crystal shard. Mm-hmm. And Tyrone.
I would assume that's what it looks like because it would be something natural looking, right?
Right.
So yeah, I'm okay with it.
So she looks down again at her hand and it's gone. It disappeared.
Right. Because she manifested it.
Right, exactly. But she doesn't realize
She doesn't get it. Yeah.
She doesn't get it yet. She hasn't connected the dots yet. Tyrone, meanwhile, runs into an abandoned building and the cop finds him, and then the cop like chokes Tyrone, and then the room gets dark and he remembers the night of his brother's shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tyrone takes off and disappears into a black tarp. Right. Again, like a cloak. So the metaphors are coming fast and hard.
And furious. Yep.
Yep. And so and then all of a sudden he wakes up, and this is where we go into the transporter.
Uh-huh.
He suddenly wakes up back in his own bedroom.
That's right.
Wait, how did that happen?
Mm-hmm. Did I imagine that?
He teleported.
He sure did.
And so he's not even in Brundlefly.
That's right.
Right? If you've seen The Fly, the Jeff Goldblum movie.
I have.
Classic. The remake.
Yeah, the first one was not good.
You mean the original?
Mm-hmm. I didn't like it. I like the Jeff Goldblum one.
It's very dated.
Yeah, very.
But the remake's better because it's directed by Cronenberg, I believe, David Cronenberg, who did Scanners.
It's creepy, yeah.
So yeah, definitely worth. Definitely, although there's some really gross parts in that movie.
Sure.
So, but yeah.
I like gross though.
And the ending's all effed up, big time.
It is.
But just saying. So let's see what else. He wakes up in his bedroom. He still has the bullet that the cop shot at him, but he's not hurt.
Right.
And then we get one final flashback where Tyrone, as a kid, wakes up on the beach alone trying to figure out what happened. And then we see Tandy trying to produce another dagger, but she can't. And then instead she wraps up in the black hoodie that she got from Tyrone all those years ago that she's kept ever since.
Right. And Tyrone pulls out a ballet slipper.
Right. That he's kept ever since.
Right. And there's also a scene where Tandy touches her mother and sees a future.
Right.
Sees a flash of the future.
All right, so anything else about this episode?
No, that's pretty much it. It was a lot of origin story for the two of them, but I thought instead of it being like, hey, look, it's an origin story, it really seemed like a very fleshed out episode.
They were more concerned with telling the story than the origin.
Yeah, I love it.
Which is good, which is the way to do it.
I really
because they're obviously not in a rush to like, okay, let's hurry up and get to the superhero stuff. They're just like, they wanted the audience to understand the characters.
Yep.
First, as characters.
But there was still some superhero stuff in it.
Right, and there was, but it's more just like, okay, we're going to introduce these elements, but we really want you to get to like these characters, or get to know these characters first.
Right. And I like them, even though they're very flawed.
Yeah, well, Tandy especially is very flawed.
Well, even Tyrone, though.
Tyrone is flawed too, but he's understandably flawed.
Right.
I think more than Tandy is.
Yeah.
So
well, Tandy watched her father die.
That's true. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't reasons for it, but and that's what makes these things very complex characters.
Right.
Which is good, and that's good writing.
It is.
All right. So, what's your rating for this one?
I came very close to giving this a 9.
Yeah.
But because it's set up and there's still a lot of room there, I gave it an 8.5. VIP areas in the club.
In the VIP room.
That's right.
Yeah. And again, I'm in sync with you. I like this pilot. I thought it was a very strong pilot, but yeah, I want to leave some room for hopefully something better down the line. So I'm going to give it 8.5 as well. 8.5 light daggers.
Yeah.
So
just really
very good start for Cloak and Dagger.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
And I think this benefited by having the first 2 episodes air back to back.
I think so too.
It really it gave you like a little mini binge enough to hopefully get you attached to the show.
Pull you right in.
Just hook you right in there. Just like if you were Sid seeing a bunny rabbit.
Exactly.
On the end of a hook.
Except it wasn't a trap.
Exactly. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
That's a trap. Okay, so Cloak and Dagger 102 Suicide Sprints. Written by Joe Pekaski.
Yeah.
Directed by...
Go ahead.
Oh, directed by Alex Garcia Lopez.
Cool. As soon as I saw the title for this, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
I remember running Suicide Sprints. I don't want to know what happened in this episode.
Yeah.
That means something happened on the team.
All right. You want to explain what Suicide Sprints are first?
Yeah, that means you got to run until you drop, essentially.
Yep.
Run back and forth in the gym or around the gym until you drop.
Yeah.
And that is usually a punishment for something.
Right. Which is what happens here.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's our A, B, and C?
A story, and I am doing some of these as like one of them is him and one of them is her.
Okay, that's good. That's cool.
Right. So the A story is no tie in team.
Right. /
No I in team. Get it? No.
Yeah,
tie.
I got you. No tie in team. That was clever. I like that one.
Thank you. Money for the launderer.
Okay.
Money laundering. Money.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay, and then the B story, Ma Mère Terrible.
Terrible.
Yep, which is a play on enfant terrible.
Yeah.
Which would mean, the terrible child. This is the terrible mother.
Yep.
And then the
very, very good use of French there.
Thank you.
Yep.
I hope my accent was all right.
You parlayed your Francais very well.
Thank you.
All right, C story.
Gracias.
Wait a second. That's not French. That's impossible.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's from Raiders of the Lost Ark, right?
I'm not falling for that again. Nice try. Nice try, monkey girl.
Okay. And then this would be Carting Disaster
That's my favorite title this week.
instead of Courting Disaster, of course.
I love that.
Do you like this one?
This is a very good pun. Carting disaster.
Thank you.
That was very clever.
And that is the mother in the grocery store.
Yes. Grocery cart.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then Converging Decisions, and that's the very end of the episode.
Yeah.
With both of them making decisions that come back at them a little bit at the end.
Yeah. Now we find out here that Mama Bowen is a train wreck,
Yeah.
which is probably what we're going to talk about here.
Pushing down, pushing. We can talk about her right now if you want.
Okay, go ahead then.
She is an overachiever. As we talked about before, that she's used the fact that her son was killed to be an activist in the community, and is she an elected official in the community?
No, I'm talking about Tandy's mom.
Oh, yeah.
That's Mama Bowen. Yeah,
Ma Mère Terrible. Okay, so Mama Bowen, she is more than a they're both kind of train wrecks.
Right, but I think at least Tyrone's mom is a train wreck in a positive way.
Right, okay. So Tandy's mom is a super duper train wreck on the inside and the outside. Okay, so
Tandy's mom is just horrible at this point.
Yeah, Tandy comes home to get her money because she needs to flee after she kills this guy.
Right.
Or hurts him, whatever the deal is. She doesn't know yet. So she decides, she and Liam decide they're going to get money and they're going to get her a new ID and everything from this launderer. And she goes to get her money to pay for it, and it's in this duffel bag that we mentioned before. But Mom has taken it to party with the new boyfriend.
Yeah, apparently she just decides, oh, hey, let's go get cocaine. And
cocaine. Right. But it wasn't.
I've got cocaine.
She's got every excuse in the book, though. It's, hey, this is my friend, quote unquote, and it's not. It's obviously they've been partying.
This dude she met,
right.
Who turns out to be a lawyer.
Well, at least she's saying he is.
Yeah.
He has filed some motion against Roxanne, and
I think that'll become important later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've filed some motion because they're still trying to eke money out of this company for, this wrongful death claim, and it's just a hot mess.
Yes.
And
it is a scorching hot mess.
Yeah. And she's trying to keep Tandy from going into the room. And when Tandy goes in, the grate is off from where she hid the duffel bag. And the duffel bag's just wide open, nothing left in it.
She totally got cleaned out.
Yeah, totally cleaned out. And there's lines of Coke.
And Tandy is pissed.
Yes, so pissed.
Just, where's my money?
And this, of course, means that they need to pull some big con in order to get the money, and and they need to
because they owe this dude.
Yeah. Now, here's the funny part. I love that they decide to go do this wedding thing, but they get the idea.
They're basically wedding crashers.
They get the idea from this entitled a-hole coming in to get his tux cleaned.
They're at the launderer.
At the launderer, right.
Money for the launderer.
Right. And he says he wants the Cumberbatch cleaned.
Right.
Not Cumbermund.
Right.
Cumberbatch.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
I fell out laughing at that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm sure, because he's just clueless.
He's an idiot.
About this. Yeah. And this launder, so this launder is essentially their fence.
Yeah. Well, and they show him that he's, giving a guy ammunition in the pocket of a jacket. And so he's, he does all kinds of things, apparently.
Yeah. So they get this idea, and Tandy says, well, we just kind of need a couple things.
Right.
First.
So they're taking like a gown and a suit. Right.
Yeah. Or whatever.
And they crash a wedding.
Right.
And they decide,
Tandy gets all glammed up.
She looks really nice. I thought.
She does. I mean, this girl they got playing Dagger, Tandy, is gorgeous.
So pretty. She's so pretty.
Olivia Holt, yeah. So,
yeah.
And so she looks like she could walk in those like rich circles.
Mm-hmm. She definitely could.
Which helps her with the grift, obviously.
Right, and he's pretty handsome too. I mean, he fits in as well to that wedding. So they go in, they clean up pretty nice. They go in and they're milling about. They're fitting in pretty well.
Tandy's kind of sitting at this one table in this one scene, drinking or whatever, and she's listening to the bride go on about true love, true love,
right?
Marriage is what brings us together today.
Yeah, and she's not having it. She's
kind of like, well, I don't think I have this.
Yeah, this is not going to happen to me.
Yeah, so and then she kind of gets like this
she
vision.
breaks up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is she gets a vision of her and Liam in a different life.
Yeah. So like a vision of what could be.
Right. And it's
not really, she's not feeling it.
No, she doesn't like it. And
she realizes there's no future with this guy.
Mm-hmm. And so she runs to the bathroom and she cries, and this is where now she's laid it out to Liam that there's 3 places to hit in a wedding. The cash bar.
Right.
What was one of the other one? The catering, whatever. And then the maid of honor who has the money.
Well, yeah, they wanted to they rob the cash bar, steal the tips from the wedding planner, and then get out with the envelopes from the gift table.
Oh, the gift table, right.
Yeah.
So the gift table, the cash bar, and
the wedding planner.
The wedding planner, but the wedding planner doesn't have the money. It's the maid of honor. So she goes into the bathroom to cry after having this vision, and of course the maid of honor's in there.
Right.
And she consoles Tandy for real, and they have this real moment together.
Yeah.
And they hug, and Tandy looks down and sees the money.
And then she realizes, like, okay, even after just bearing her soul to this woman,
I still got to rob her.
I still got to rob her.
Yep.
And she kind of feels a little guilty about it for a moment, and then
a split second.
Yeah, it's very brief.
Yeah, it's not much.
I think she's just more regretful. She's just like,
I still got to do it, but
I still got to do this, but so it's just like, oh man. So
yeah, it was like a snap of like, oh crap, and then
it wasn't that she went there looking for her,
right?
But when it's just like all laid out there, nice and neat for her,
she had to take the opportunity.
She had to take it, yeah.
So she steals the money. She goes back out, and Liam's got his stuff. They grab the money from the gift table, and they run.
Yes.
Because they
grab
on their heels.
They grab all the stuff and then throw it in this convertible and drive off.
And they're driving off, yep. And it's the just married convertible.
Yeah, they stole the wedding car.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's inconspicuous.
Good thing the keys were inside. Or that could have been really awkward.
It could have been really awkward. Yeah, so they finally have the money, so they go and they get the ID and stuff, and then she gives Liam the slip and drives away. But of course, Liam gets popped and gives her a call and says, "Hey, I gave you all my money, and I got popped, so I need you."
Yeah, so he has like, I'm in jail, and could you like help me out here and
Yeah, and whoops.
do me a solid? And she's basically like,
No.
Smell you later.
Yeah, no. And that ends up with converging decisions, which we haven't got to yet. But
And this is after, like, apparently Tandy has a pattern of just running from her troubles.
yeah, that's one of the things she lays out to the maid of honor is that, hey, anytime I get close to someone, I
because her
run.
mom called her out on it. She's like, all you ever do is just run away.
Right.
When things get tough.
And really, that's all she knows.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, this is the same woman that brought an anonymous dude home and did a Coke party with
and stole all her money.
Right. Stole all her stolen money.
Right. Well.
Right.
To be fair, she didn't know it was stolen, but yeah.
But yeah. Well, it's just it wasn't hers. She stole the stolen money.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to No Tie and Team.
So it's like pot, meat, kettle. Hello.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
No Tie and Team.
Yeah. Yeah. No Tie and Team. So all these little disappearances that Ty's been doing, not going over too well because the coach is not having it.
No, he is not happy.
And he decides to take it out on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Tyrone steps up and he's like, look, this is all on me. Punish me. And the coach is like, well, why don't you just, like, hug the bench for a while?
Yeah, because...
And watch.
Let me tell you something. Coaches know how to punish you.
Right.
And punishing a team is the best way to punish you.
Right, because now all your teammates are pissed at you.
They hate you. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And they're all like, this gives them the opportunity to just watch Tyrone sit in the bleachers as they, like, bust their asses.
And stew on it.
Yeah. Doing the suicide sprints.
Yeah. And if Tyrone had gotten up to run, that coach would have walked him off.
Right.
Physically and sat him back down in the bleachers.
Yeah.
He would not have allowed him to have any solidarity with his teammates. That is how it goes. I mean, that is the worst punishment ever. It really is. So yeah, they were not having it, and they told him so later on in the episode. They beat him. Pretty much. And it was not good. Of course, he's not telling his mom that. His mom calls and he says, I'm not locked in this cage. I am staying late. The coach has us staying late. But
yeah, they're just, this, I think he was hoping that, like, he would somehow wake up back in his bedroom.
Yeah, he was getting underneath stuff.
Right. Like he was doing before and hoping he would teleport, and he doesn't.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
All right. And so probably should also mention that we get introduced to a new character in this, the detective.
Right.
And that is actually a character from the comics, Detective Bridget O'Reilly, played by Emma Lahana. And a little side note, Bridget O'Reilly ends up becoming a villain named Mayhem. Will that happen here? I think it bears watching. And we also get introduced to another character from the Cloak and Dagger comics. What's the character's name? I should know this, but I don't. Father Delgado.
Right.
Yeah.
And Tyrone goes to talk to Father Delgado.
Yeah.
And he gives him some advice.
Right.
To hang in there and
Father Delgado seems like a good guy.
He does.
And he's in the comics. He acts as kind of a mentor, counselor to Cloak and Dagger, who kind of essentially like take refuge in a church that's obviously Father Delgado oversees, and he's kind of like one of their connections to what's going on in the street.
Okay.
So
and that was him buying cigarettes later too, right?
Right. So presumably, eventually, Father Delgado will find out, if they follow the comics, that Cloak and Dagger are
Cloak and Dagger. That they have powers.
Like they have powers and all that. Okay. So eventually, and then they'll kind of like go to him for guidance or whatnot.
Okay.
As a superpowered duo.
Cool.
A dynamic duo.
That's awesome.
Oh wait, that's somebody else.
Well.
Yeah.
Still.
But apparently, the detective Bridget O'Reilly, she's looking into all the activities about the douchebaggy rich guy and in Tandy.
Right. She's looking into that.
Right.
She's not looking into the fact that a cop killed some kid.
Yeah, not yet. Anyway, well, but yeah, I can't. I have to remember. Like, okay, was this episode or was this episode 3? So I have to be careful here.
Oh, okay.
Because there's some stuff that happened. I think it was episode 3.
Yeah, don't say anything. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
But apparently, I'll just say that Detective O'Reilly's storyline dovetails or connects to the shady cop.
Okay.
And I'll leave it there.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna watch it tonight. So.
Yeah. So you want to? Yeah.
Okay.
You'll know what I'm saying when you see it.
All right. Okay, and then Tyrone, when he gets home, has a chat with his mother.
Right.
And they talk about life and things and
right.
And then he touches her.
Yeah.
And he sees that she has nightmares about both of them dying.
Yeah, well, yeah, the facade that his mom puts out is that she's very together and with it and driven. And Tyrone kind of like, because of his powers, is somehow able to see what's really going on underneath.
Right.
And she's got some vulnerability issues going on.
And this is what I said.
Insecurities.
She's a bit of a hot mess too, but
yeah,
it's buried. And they showed in this episode that she's unraveling
fearful.
A little bit because there's an animal that's getting into their garbage cans, and she's
I think she's put all this pressure on herself to succeed.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like eating at her slowly.
It is.
And because she basically what she did, she transferred all her grief over her murdered son into this, activism.
Right.
And she hasn't quite dealt with the grief of her son.
Right.
And now it's kind of expressing itself.
She's used it as wallpaper.
This is me being all pop psychologist guy.
No, yeah. I think we can see it, though. I mean, it's pretty clear.
I mean, that's pretty apparent of what's going on. Yeah.
We don't have to be psychologists. They're telling us that's what.
I just play one on TV.
Yeah. They're telling us that because they're showing this underlying thing where she's in a grocery store with her 2 young kids and they're running around the corner.
This is the carting disaster.
Right. They're running around the corner and turning into headstones. So,
this whole thing that Tyrone sees it's just the whole big metaphor.
Yeah. I was pretty proud of myself for that too, carting disaster. I thought that was
very clever. I think it's almost like a dream sequence in this.
It was.
But it's not.
I liked how they did it too, where he holds her shoulder and it goes right into this dream sequence. Right. And then it ends with them breaking apart, and it was pretty seamless too. And then he tucks her in to the couch like she's just totally spent after them sharing.
But you notice what he does. He wraps a blanket around her, a cloak.
Like a cloak. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see what he did there? So, yep.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing there, Cloak and Dagger.
Mm-hmm. Very cloaky.
TV show.
They're cloaking it.
Yeah.
In cloaks.
Cloaking the cloak of cloaks.
In cloaking.
Yep.
In cloaking.
Activating the cloaking device.
That's right. In cloaking. I'm just going to say cloaks over and over.
You just like to say cloak.
No. But yes.
All right, now you're getting a little loopy.
I am. I'm so tired.
Yeah, we should wrap this up.
Yeah,
right.
Okay, and then conversion decisions. At the end of the episode, this is when everything comes together.
Yes.
He is chasing down this bad cop.
Yeah.
He has his mother's gun.
Right.
He's deciding he's going to shoot this cop, And just as he pulls the trigger,
Yeah.
he
Teleports.
He teleports, not because he wants to, but because he does.
Right, just reflexively, unconsciously.
Right?
Yeah.
Teleports in front of Tandy's car.
Tandy's car as she's driving away with, to escape her boyfriend.
Right. And shoots at the car, and it looks like he's shooting at her.
Well, that's what she thinks. So, yeah, the bullet goes through her windshield, and she swerves to avoid him, and that's where we end in the cliffhanger.
Right. Well, we saw that the car was wrapped around a tree earlier.
Right. Yeah.
In a flash forward. So we know that she crashes the car, but we don't know exactly what happens after that. So.
And we'll find out in episode 3, obviously.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, that's
when we will talk about that next time.
The horrible decisions they both make end up there in that convergence in the woods.
Ooh, okay. See, that's the converging decisions.
That's right.
All right, I see what you did there. Mm-hmm. All right, anything else about this episode?
No, I'm loving the series.
Yeah, this is again another strong episode. So, Cloak and Dagger off to a good start so far.
Mm-hmm,
What's your rating?
Again, an 8.5. This equaled the first episode, I thought, in quality. So I gave it the same rating, 8.5. Resting basic faces. That's the nickname they gave to the maid of honor. Instead of a resting bitch face, they gave her a resting
where that
basic
was from.
face.
Okay.
As in basic white girl. So resting basic face.
I give it again in sync 8.5 equipment cages.
Mm-hmm. Which is what they locked Tyrone.
Which is what they locked Tyrone into, yeah. So yeah, I thought this episode built perfectly on the first one, and this is a very promising series.
It is.
So obviously, if you're not familiar with Cloak and Dagger, check this out. I think you might dig it, especially if you like Runaways or The Gifted.
Or The Gifted, yeah.
Yeah.
I would put them all in the same class.
Yeah, I would. If you kind of dig that kind of show, then you would definitely dig Cloak and Dagger.
Yep, straightforward.
It's very surprising. Mm-hmm. Pleasantly so.
Pleasantly so, yeah.
If you're going to write this show off because it was a Freeform series, don't.
Right.
Okay.
Agreed.
Just kind of like DVR it, if nothing else, and just pretend that you downloaded it off Fox or something, FX, whatever.
Right.
And go with that. All right. So, do we have some Justina feedback?
We do.
Let's hear it.
All right.
I want to hear our favorite butterfly.
She talks about Supergirl, and this way we get Supergirl in.
There you go. So, Justina's our Supergirl reviewer for the week.
That's right.
All right.
Hi, Karen and Charles. Guys, I'm running out of superheroes. What's a butterfly to do? At least I had a really exciting episode of Supergirl to enjoy. Remember how last week I said I was worried that this was all a trap? It was totally a trap. I saw this coming, but I don't mind. It still makes for one exciting episode. Half of our heroes are stranded on Argo. Ruby's home alone with a world killer. Alex is distracted, looking up adoption on the computer. Somebody call her. She needs to check on Ruby. I think I see a mirror here between Myrn and Rain. Myrn wants to do something with Jean to preserve his Martian memories while he's having this moment of clarity. And for a moment, I thought the good guys had won, and the Rock of Utica was going to cure Sam. Now I can see that things are not as they seem, and perhaps that was just one moment of clarity for Sam to shine through before Rain takes over forever. Of course, this isn't the way I wanted to go, but I wonder if that's where the writers are taking it. I hope not. I do enjoy this actress, but I don't want, another season of Rain as the villain. So I hope that if we get to keep the actress, we keep her in the form of Sam. But I guess we'll just have to see in next week's penultimate episode. You know what would be cool? If the Legion came back. We were told several episodes back that even the sick Legionnaires are no longer showing any symptoms of the blight. So maybe we could even meet some new ones. We can definitely need some help.
Hey, what an idea.
We have stranded heroes, a triple strong world killer, an evil priestess. We need help. Hopefully Lena and Wynn will start working on the problem of how to contact the Legion. I feel like this is going to be an all-hands-on-deck situation in National City. This episode gets 9 out of 10 distractions in a meadow. Have a super week.
Thank you, Justina.
Thank you, Justina.
Have a Supergirl week, apparently.
That's right. Well, it is Supergirl week because it's the last episode. And I'm assuming we'll talk about it no matter what. Whether we liked it or not.
Yeah, we should talk about the season finale.
Right.
Next week.
I'm assuming I'll like it.
We still have 2 more episodes to talk about. Because this was only episode 21 of the 23 episodes.
Right. Yeah,
right.
we still have
because we haven't
this
watched
week's.
the Supergirl. Yes,
and
this
then
week's
the next week's.
This week's episode because we're a little behind.
Right. Yeah, I'm saying, but the one that's coming up this next week.
Yes. Yeah. Just for everybody out there, 2 episodes from now.
Right, 2 episodes from now.
2 episodes of the Phantom Zone.
I'm talking about the one that's coming up this Monday.
Right. Yeah, we should talk about that one too. I think.
Yeah.
That one was better.
It was better, yes.
So we should talk about that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
But the one she's talking about is the gun control episode.
Yes.
Which neither Charles nor I loved.
I could have talked about it, but because Karen was just like, I don't want to talk about this because I can't even.
Look, I didn't even go far enough to have a grade.
Right.
I couldn't.
I just put it say I laid this out in the document, our Google document, and you're just like, let's just not. I
erased it. I just erased it.
Delete it.
I didn't go far enough for a grade because it was just too heavy-handed, and I was like, it's not fair for me to grade it based on the soapbox.
That's okay. I get it. So, but hopefully the episode after this one, Make It Rain, we'll talk about next time.
We will,
and then, we'll talk about the season finale,
and then the finale. Yes.
Yeah. All right. And Justino, we talked about this at the beginning of the episode. We're going to obviously see more Brainiac 5 because he's going to be a regular.
Justina, I think you should watch Cloak and Dagger.
Yes, I was just about to recommend that, Justine. I think you would really like Cloak and Dagger. So why don't you give that a try and let us know what you think.
I think
if you don't dig it, that's cool.
Sure, but I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I think you'd like it too. So I think it would be in your wheelhouse. Hopefully. All right, let us know what you think. All right, thanks again for Justina. We always love hearing from you. And otherwise, if anybody else wants to write in. You don't have to record something. You can just send us an email if you want. So,
how can they get in touch with us?
How can they get in touch with us? Yeah, meanwhile.
They can write to us at phantomzonecast@gmail.com. I keep forgetting to do the meanwhile in between our conversation. And
no worries. That's why I always try to do the meanwhile.
I know.
All Ted Knight.
Okay, so phantomzonecast@gmail.com. I don't want to bury that. Facebook.com/Phantom Zone Podcast.
Right.
Or you can just search for the Phantom Zone Podcast. We are on Twitter, and our handle there is Phantom Zone Cast. That's
at Phantom Zone Cast.
At Phantom Zone Cast. If you don't know to put an @ on front of it, you shouldn't be on Twitter.
Pretty much.
You can listen and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. We're there. I think we're probably on like Stitcher and.
We're on the Stitcher. We're on the Libsyn. So all the places
as well.
Yep.
And I am at Aliveria, ALEVERIA, and at Alies_stuff.
Yep.
On Twitter machines.
Yes.
And if you go to my bio there and click on the link, it will take you to my blog, and that front page there has all my other links.
Coolness. All right. As for me, of course, at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine, at Charles Skaggs on the Instagram, Google Plus for all you crazy kids on the Google Plus, and Facebook, of course, at Charles Skaggs, and my blog of geeky things.
Damn good coffee and hot.
Damn good coffee and hot. where I talk about all the shows that we talk about here on the Fan Zone podcast.
And more.
Or less. No.
And more.
And more.
And more.
And so all kinds of comic book sci-fi news. Just posted some news about Star Trek Discovery changing showrunners again.
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently their showrunners were dicks to their writers.
Wah, wah.
And don't mess. It is not logical to mess with the Star Trek Discovery writers' room guys.
No.
Apparently, so
they got the big old boot.
Yep. See ya. Don't want to be.
That's right.
All right. And but yeah, all kinds of comic book sci-fi news. Also news of my other podcasts that I do for the Southgate Media Group, including Ghost with the Twin Peaks podcast that I do with Zan Sprouse. Mm-hmm. And Titan Talk, the Titans podcast that I do with a friend of the show, Jesse Jackson, where we talk about the upcoming DC Universe series, Titans.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll also talk about the upcoming Doom Patrol series.
Yay!
Which would be cool. And then, of course, my other podcast that I do with Jesse Jackson.
The award-winning,
Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast.
That's right. I pay attention.
Yep. So... guys, we won an award on Next Stop Everywhere.
I know. I'm so happy.
Yeah, so the Indie PopCon in Indianapolis. Thanks. Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no applause necessary. Just throw money. And
sorry, that's all I have is the
that's
applause.
Okay. I understand. No problem. It's cool. That they were kind enough. They had some podcast awards, and we submitted. And we won on Next Stop Everywhere the best sci-fi / fantasy podcast.
That's
award,
awesome.
Which was coolness. Now, here on the Phantom Zone podcast, we were geeking out in 2016 when we were nominated for the Parsec Award for like a best new podcast,
best new hosts.
Yeah, stuff like that. And we were very appreciative of that. But finally won one. I finally won a podcast award. How cool is that?
Cool. Very cool.
So yeah,
I was so proud.
So yeah, hey, San Diego Comic-Con, if you're looking for some replacement host for the Doctor Who panel,
I gave you a heart on Facebook.
Yes, you did. We were very appreciative of that. So Karen, of course, has been kind enough to appear on Next Stop Everywhere, and hopefully we'll get her back some point.
Yes.
So busy. You're so busy.
Not so much anymore.
Because you're like Little Miss Popular.
Right Not right now.
So you ever want in the mood to want to come back on the Next Stop Everywhere?
I would love to.
We'd love to have you back. You haven't been on for a while, so we'd love to have you back anytime. And right now we're talking Torchwood. We're in the middle of a mini Torchwood retrospective.
I'll pass on Torchwood.
That's okay. We'll be talking Doctor Who here shortly.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Torchwood.
And of course we have the new season of Doctor Who coming up in September.
See, now there.
So you might want to check that out. You can come on when we start reviewing the new season.
There you go.
How's that? Is that cool?
I'm in.
All right, we'll do that.
100% I'm in.
Come on in, yeah, because that'd be cool. The new 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker.
That's right. You need some estrogen on your show when the female doctor comes around.
It might not hurt. Right. Let's just put it that way. I think I would be all for that.
Okay.
Yeah, because all we have like dudeness. We need to balance out the dudeness. Yeah, we have we have Jesse and me. I don't know how much dude bros we are, but
more than me.
Dudeness, yes. We need some not dudeness.
Some undudeness.
Undudeness, yes. The double X chromosome dudeness.
Right. I only have the one.
Yeah, okay. You only have a one chromosome?
One X chromosome.
One X chromosome.
Right. And the other one's a Y.
So you're male.
That's you. I'm the duet. Yeah. Okay.
That's why. That's you. This is why.
Strike that. Reverse it. The other way. I've had a long week. I don't know if you guys know this.
That's okay, Karen. I've heard it goes both ways.
Thank you. I've heard it.
Boom.
Heard it both ways. You're close. You're so close. Yes.
I made the effort. You knew what I was going
for. I knew exactly what you were going.
Okay, I made the attempt.
That was amazing.
I've heard it both ways.
That was amazing. I've heard it both ways.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I slipped in a little psych reference there. Almost.
Perfect.
This is like 99% psych reference.
Very good.
All right.
I'm so proud of you right now.
Thank you. All right, so everybody, come on back. We're going to talk some more Supergirl. We're going to talk Legion, the season 2 finale of that.
So incredible, you guys.
So you want to come back, and then episode 3 of Cloak and Dagger. So you got some time to catch up if you haven't been watching. That's right. So we got some shows to talk about next week, and hopefully it'll just be a few days, depending on when we get around to recording our next episode. Because I have a birthday tomorrow.
That's right. It's Charles's birthday tomorrow. Wish him a happy birthday, everybody.
Yeah, and then the day after that, was that Thea Queen? You got slipped into a little Thea Queen.
Yeah, I wish it was my birthday.
Oh, welcome back, Thea. We missed you.
I miss you too.
You guys.
I'm gone already. My boyfriend's leaving me, though.
Is he?
He is. He's going to go back.
And you're not going back.
No.
That seems rather foolish.
I know, right?
I hope you got something lined up.
I wish it wasn't my birthday. I'm hinting at a car. I really want a car.
Okay.
Could I have a car? I'm going to crash it. I'm going to take drugs and I'm going to crash it.
That's generally been your MO as what we've seen on seasons of Arrow.
I know, right?
Right. That's kind of your,
Okay.
That's kind of your thing. All right. So yeah, we obviously have some shows to talk about here on the Phantom Zone podcast. And thanks everybody for listening. And we will see you next time right here on the Phantom Zone podcast.
Death.
The darkness
Funko.
is back.